guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Millie and I'm a calligrapher, graphic designer and content creator, and I run a little business called Blink Lettering. I'm doing a Q&A for you guys today because I haven't done one in a really long time, and something quite exciting is happening today. Today is my last day of being employed. So after running my business for 6 years while working in a full-time job, I have taken the plunge to do this whole freelance self-employed thing full-time, which is really scary and really exciting. The other week I popped on my Instagram a story asking if anyone had any questions relating to this or just anything in general really. I just really wanted to sit down, do a little chatty video with you guys. I haven't been very consistent with YouTube for a while and I just want to get back into the flow of it. Okay, so first question. How do you approach the big businesses for calligraphy work, or do they approach you? So for people who don't know, I have worked with quite a few big pen brands out there. So for example, Karen brush markers, Pentel, just looking at my pen area and seeing who else. Casa chalk markers, Versa chalk markers, Colt pens, Tom Studio. I've been very fortunate over the past few years to have worked in some sort of capacity with different brands. Some of that might just be sharing content on my own Instagram. Some of them might be sharing dedicated tutorial videos. So I've done that for Royal Talens Ecoline pens. So yeah, there's a huge mixture of projects I've done. And in terms of approaching them, to be honest, I've had quite a lot of brands approach me. I've been quite lucky in that sense. I think a lot of people have found me on Instagram and they've reached out to me and approached me, which is very exciting. So for example, when I did the live TV with Karen brush markers and manuscript, they found me. But there are some brands that I've reached out to. So I have done quite a few giveaways over the past few years. And for giveaways, I have reached out to brands and just been like, would you mind contributing towards this giveaway? And that in turn has led to relationships developing further where I've actually done paid work with them as well. So I haven't gone out specifically to brands and been like, I want to work with you, this is what I want to do. A lot of it's happened organically. The one brand that I have done that with is Colt pens. I was spending loads of money at Colt pens, that's where I was buying all my pens. So I just reached out to them and I haven't really done any paid work with them, but they have sent me product before for like reviews and things like that. But it's just reaching out, but I don't just like reach out and message them. I make sure I'm like commenting on their posts or liking their posts. And also something else I do is whenever I use any pens in my posts on Instagram, I always tag the brand. Firstly, because that helps my audience know what pens I'm using, but also it's getting the brand to recognise me. So I really recommend starting off doing that if this is something that you'd like to do in future. Okay, how exhausting is it building up self-employed work alongside a full-time job before making the switch? Very exhausting. I can obviously only speak about my situation. Everyone is obviously in different situations. You might have children, you might have animals, you might have a partner, you might not have a partner, you might live with parents at home, or you might own your own house, or you might rent. So for me, for the whole time I've been running my business, I've had a partner who's been incredibly supportive and has basically made sure I'm fed and watered. So that's helped relieve the stress of like having to cook dinner and things like that. But we also lived in rented accommodation the whole time. So I obviously needed to make sure that I could afford to pay the rent, which is why I stayed in a full-time job for so long. We now own our own house. Again, part of the reason I stayed in my job the whole time. I think over the past few years, I've definitely learned to find balance. I used to be very much the kind of person who would stay up late doing Blink Lettering work, and I'd be constantly tired. And then after a while, I switched it to doing early mornings instead. And that really helped. I'm not saying that if you want to run a business, you have to wake up early. But for me, I felt like I functioned better going to bed earlier and waking up earlier than going to bed super late and waking up like a normal time. So finding that balance made it less tiring. But it's a lot of work, especially in the past couple of years. I've probably worked about 30-40 hours a week on my business, and then I'm working 37.5 hours in my full-time job. Obviously with everything with lockdown and stuff, I've not had to commute, which really gave me a lot of time back to be able to work on my business, and that really helped me be able to do the switch to early mornings as well, and working early mornings. So it's really about finding the balance, but please don't burn yourself out. I did that a few times, and in fact in 2019 I actually took quite a few months off. I didn't really say anything on Instagram or anything. I just needed to take that step back. So I don't want to glamorize this idea of being overtired or burnt out. That is not a good way to do it. And your mental health is way more important. And this is why I've actually just taken the massive leap to quit my job, because I felt like it was getting to a point that my mental health couldn't cope anymore. And it was either quit my job or stop Blink. And I've put so much love into Blink that I couldn't just let go of that, basically. I've had someone say, I can't eat cheese at the moment, so please talk about favourite cheese. This sounds really boring, but I love a cheddar, but like the extra mature cheddar that like hurts your jaw when you're eating it, like that kind of cheddar. And then any sort of like melty cheese, like a baked camembert or like a cheese fondue, or just cheese all over a pizza. Just melty cheese is the best kind of cheese. Someone said, what nails do you want next? So these are my current nails. I do my nails myself. I have a Miley at home gel kit, and I've had it for ages. When you're using your hands a lot for social media, it's important to have pretty nails. I don't know what I'm going to go with next. I was thinking maybe something pastel-y because it's so sunny, or maybe just yellow. I'm going to have a little bit of fun with that. Next question is, any tips for trusting your gut/intuition? I'm probably not the best person to advise on this, because quite honestly I get quite anxious about things. I worry quite a lot, and therefore I don't necessarily always trust my gut or intuition. But I think something that has helped me massively with this is just the support of people around me. I've wanted to quit my job for quite a while, and I think if it wasn't for the people around me kind of cheering me on, then I wouldn't have trusted my gut and just gone with it. So that's definitely helped. What do you think your working day will look like when you're self-employed? And I think I had a similar question to this as well. How would your time be spent going forward working self-employed? So both of them are quite similar. In terms of my working day, it is going to vary quite a bit each day. I am going to still be doing some freelance graphic design work for the company I currently work at and other places as well. So those days will still look kind of normal to what I'm doing now, I guess. What I really would like to do in terms of managing my time is to bulk jobs together. So I'd like to dedicate a day where I just film YouTube videos and edit YouTube videos, and then a day where I'll design new products for my shop, and a day where I dedicate creating content for my courses and teaching. So I want to bulk things together, and then I want some regular days each month, like my finances, I want to keep on top of a little bit better. So just having full days and not just evenings and some weekends, it means that I can manage my time in that way. So I think my working days will look very different on a regular basis, but just hopefully with a little bit more structure compared to what I have now with my business. What's your favourite part of your business? Calligraphy, products, clients? So definitely teaching. I absolutely love teaching students both in person and online. In person is like a little bit more fun because you get to be there while the magic's happening, but I just love seeing people grow with their calligraphy. I've had a few students go off and start their own calligraphy businesses, and I champion that so much. It's so exciting. And yeah, I am very much self-taught, but a lot of how I learned was through Instagram videos, YouTube videos, and I kind of want to give that back to the community because it's just such an amazing community and I love it so much. And yeah, that is definitely a big part that I'm loving at the moment in my business. What are you looking forward to the most? I think the flexibility, being able to change up my days if I need to. So if it's going to be a miserable grey weekend, then I could choose to work at the weekend. And then if it's going to be a beautiful Tuesday, I could choose to go to the beach. So just having that kind of flexibility, but also not having to work every single evening to get everything done that I want to get done. Yeah, flexibility and more time for me, more time where I can relax and not feel so guilty that I'm not doing stuff on my business, basically. Sorry, my camera battery died, so the angle might be a little bit different. Okay, what do we have next? A very important question, crisps or chocolate? You can't have the other for the rest of your life. I think I choose crisps, because it's only been recently that I've become a bit of a sweet person, but I just can't live without savoury stuff. And crisps come in so many different flavours. Like, you'd be giving up all crisps. Whereas chocolate, I could deal with. There's other sweet things that you could have that you could enjoy, but like crisps and hummus, perfect snack. Tips for someone wanting to start a business but not sure doing what? I think it's worth finding out what you're passionate about, but something to bear in mind that if you start, say, a business doing calligraphy because you love calligraphy, eventually it gets to the point where calligraphy is no longer your hobby because it is your job. So bear that in mind if you want to start up a business that is something creative that you love and that you enjoy, that eventually at some point, it's not that you won't enjoy it anymore, but how you view it changes a lot. I very rarely sit down to do calligraphy just for fun, and if I do, I'm still sharing it on my Instagram, so it's still technically business. So that's something to bear in mind if you do want to start a business. I think a big question is why you want to start a business in the first place. If you want to start a business because you want flexibility to work wherever you want in the world, then setting up a dog walking business probably isn't the best idea because you'll need to set that up somewhere you're based and get regular clients. If you want to have a business that doesn't involve many overheads, then setting up an entire shop with loads of products probably isn't the best thing, but perhaps something digital based would be better. So I think it's best to ask why you want to set up a business in the first place. It's quite hard to run a business, I'm not going to lie. So I think you need to address why, and then do touch on what you're passionate about. There's no point running a business if you absolutely hate it. But just bear in mind, if you do something creative, it won't necessarily be a hobby anymore. How long did it take for your business to consistently earn decent money? It doesn't. I'm not going to lie. It doesn't earn consistent money decently. I was having a little look over my revenue for the past 2 years, and I was pleasantly surprised to see how much I was earning on a monthly basis, but it's not consistent. There were some months where I may only bring in, to be honest, about £200, and then there's other months where I might bring over £2,000. It's not consistent, and that's something that I was quite worried about in terms of quitting my job, but something that my partner reminded me of is that I was still earning all of that money through my business while working full time. So imagine what I could do if I wasn't working full time. So even though it was only £200 in March, I hardly had any time to do my business then. So imagine what I could earn before. So there's obviously that leap of faith. In terms of where I felt like it got to a point where I was bringing a lot of money in quite regularly, it was after 3 years, I guess. But I think that's because I was very much enjoying life. I was saving for a wedding, as in my wedding. I was enjoying my job as well. I still enjoy my job, and I was learning a lot in my job. So the priority for me to like get a regular income or like a decent amount of money each month through my business wasn't that high. I was mainly using my business to invest back into it or for extra fun things as well. So that was my choice, but I feel like if I had kind of put my head down to it, I could have done that quicker. And you obviously hear of stories of people doing it like 6 months a year. But I want you to know that it doesn't have to be like that. If you just want to enjoy the process, then you can. I was fortunate that I've always been in a full-time job while doing the business. So I have been able to kind of be a little bit lax with the money side of things. But I think just getting to grips with the money is the most important thing. It doesn't matter how much you're earning. It's just understanding where your money is going in your business. That's paying yourself, going on taxes, going into profit, going on expenses. So I started doing something called the profit first method, which I want to do a whole video on, so I won't go into too much detail here. But I started doing that in January 2021, so last year in January. And I feel since then I'm much more in control of my money. And I feel like that's more important when you're running a business than necessarily making a ton of money. Obviously, you need money to invest into the business, but be in control and be aware of how much you're making and how much you're spending, rather than focusing on making this kind of regular, decent amount. At the end of the day, the downside of running a small business is you're never going to have a set amount each month like you do with a salary. Favourite Harry Potter villain? Can I say Snape? Because like, you think he's a villain for the whole time, and then at the end you find out he's not. Sorry, spoiler alert, if anyone is reading the books right now. Hopefully you've read them already. Yeah. Does that count? Because he's technically not a villain, but he is quite a good villain for the whole time. I'm going to go with Snape. How did you get the confidence to start your business? I don't think there was ever a day where I sat down and said, I'm going to start a business. I basically set up an Instagram page where I wanted to share my daily practicing of calligraphy, and that grew gradually, and then just over time like things started making sense for it to be a business. So someone would be like, oh, could you create this print for me, or do you sell greetings cards? So I kind of just slowly dipped my toe in, and my confidence has 100% grown over the past 6 years. But that's just from experience and just dipping my toes in and doing lots of little things, and it's just gradually built up. I think if you're worried about starting a business, then just take little baby steps. You don't have to do everything all in one go. What is your favourite word written with your favourite colour? My favourite word to write in calligraphy is minimum, because it's just so bouncy and flowy. And also, can you guess my favourite colour? I absolutely love teal turquoise. I also quite like pink as well. By my hair, you can probably guess that. So that's all of the questions for this Q&A. Nice, short, sweet one, although I think I've probably rambled quite a lot. I can't wait to start on this next chapter of being full-time self-employed, and I just couldn't do it without you guys. So I just want to say a massive thank you for supporting me, for watching my YouTube videos. And if you have any other questions that I haven't answered about my journey, what I'm doing, how I'm managing things, pop them in the comments below and I'm happy to answer them for you. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you found some of the things I shared useful, and I'll see you very soon for another video. Bye!